This deep breath. All right, here we go, guys. Hello, 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 my beautiful people. What's going on? We are back with another episode. I feel like I say that all the time. Like, hello, hello. I should change that whole spiel, but whatever it is. I don't know. I guess I don't know what else to say. And I'm so hype all the time, every time I come on. And I'm like semi preparing for the podcast tonight. And I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to say. And I'm like, I don't do that. I don't really prepare for this. So I don't even know what I'm going to say. I'm just going to go with it. Like,
As
but
always, right?
without further ado, tonight we have a very special guest because a lot of the people we have on the podcast, we make sure we vet them, we know what they're about, what they do. But very rarely do I get people on the podcast that go back with me. Besides Jamie and I, Emily comes close second to the amount of time that they've known me in life. Jamie came into my life when I was about 18, 19, and ever since then we've been close. And we have a relationship that takes her really back. But I wanted to invite her tonight because I know that she is a powerhouse. She's a formidable force. I've seen her for so long do so much and with a lot of obstacles that can be someone else's trauma and stop someone. And she decided to make it her story, her power story. So I really, really wanted to have her on the podcast tonight. So without further ado, Miss Emily Gonzalez.
Hello.
So Emily, tell us a little bit about you. A little bit about, your age, where you're from, mom, and all that.
Oh, I am 33 years old. I come from the Boogie Down Bronx. However, I now live in Yonkers. I am a mom. I have a about to be 9-year-old daughter. Show her face.
She goes, "Hey, Scarlett." We'll tell you that later. We'll tell you that later. Why?
Ideal. Um, so yeah, I'm from the Bronx and I currently live in Yonkers. And I am a mother to a 9-year-old child. About to
Awesome.
be 9 years old. I keep saying 9 years old because I'm getting used to it, but she's about to be 9 years old in about 21 days.
Oh yeah,
So
so she's close. It's
that's
almost
20,
there.
19 days.
It's almost there. It's happening soon. Yeah, they just grow up so fast. It's so crazy.
Oh
So
yeah.
like I was saying, so I've known you for a long time, and I know that one of the things that I wanted to really talk about tonight was about like kind of like your backstory, right? So I know you are a daughter of two, what is it? Two siblings. No, three. No, you have more siblings. But initially, I only knew you guys as two. So so from one mother, from your mom, it's just you and your brother, and you come from what I would call essentially a broken home. Something that, I am very familiar with. Unfortunately, not having a present father can be a hindrance, but it doesn't need to be one. And I wanted to kind of dive into that, like kind of what was your growing up life like, and how did you navigate that, not having a present dad and having a super present mom that was really like kind of not trying to hover, but trying to fulfill both roles.
Yeah. Um, so growing up watching my mom and thinking of it now, I think to myself, how did she do this? How did she do this? Not with just one kid, but with two kids. Um, I allowed that to learn from her experience and learn to be the type of person I wanted to become. I knew it made me know what I want in life. That the growing up, with my mom being a single mom, um, I I I took her. I guess I took her experience and kind of said, okay, this is how her life played out, and I want it to be um kind of one I obviously you cannot control certain things, right?
Mhm.
There's certain things you cannot control. But
Right.
at the same time, I knew that I wanted to go to school. I knew I wanted to become someone because watching her, she was also going to school, also working. And so I knew that I was like, wait, I need to do that. I need to do that so that I can get somewhere, so that I can be someone and become, I guess, what we call successful these days.
Yeah.
Um, which success can be anything, but I guess I took her story and I said, okay, I wanna be better. I wanna do better. Not that my mom wasn't doing better or doing better, but I knew because of her circumstances, there was certain things that she couldn't do.
Right. Yeah. And it's almost like for me, I kind of took that same role when things happened with my parents. And it was just like, it wasn't that it was bad. It was just like I wanted to add on to it. I wanted to say, okay, you did this and I love you and I appreciate you for everything you did, but I also wanted to kind of add to that because I could see that there was gaps, right? Because one thing that we know as mothers is that, these children do not come with a manual and neither do we. So it's a catch and go and figuring it out as you go. And it can be challenging. So for real, kudos. Shout out to Wanda because it's hard, having one child, let alone two kids, and being able to kind of manage that and go to school. And she did it. She did the damn thing. So
Yeah,
I'm
she
really, really
definitely
proud of her.
did.
She really did. With everything she went through because life didn't stop. Unfortunately, life
Yep.
doesn't stop for us. The madness that happens in our families, with our own personal life as women, you're trying to manage a relationship and you're also trying to be a mom. It can be very like slippery slope. So and she did very well, at least to my understanding. And what I think is like you said, like success. She successfully accomplished having kids that finished school, did what they had to do, with just the standard nowadays. But it just interchanges. But one thing that I feel like maybe could have helped, maybe didn't, is not having the active paternal role there. Do you feel like also being a single mom that has now played out for you, like having an active dad versus having one that isn't?
So you saying like me and with me
Yeah,
with Scarlett?
yeah.
Okay. Well, yes, that I knew that although, if things don't work out, things don't work out, obviously, but I also didn't want to be enemies because I knew what it was like to not have a dad or have a dad come in and out of my life. I didn't want that for my daughter. So I knew that we had to set our differences aside. Of course, in the beginning, it's never the easiest. It takes some
Mm.
time. It takes some time to get accustomed. There's a lot of emotions in the beginning. There's a lot of probably resentment. There's a lot of, different emotions. But at the end of the day, the priority is the child. She shouldn't be the one to blame for all the things that, whatever went down or any of that stuff. So I knew that what I wanted for her, I wanted her to have, an active dad. And, the her dad isn't a bad person either. Just, we all make bad decisions sometimes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's a fact.
Oh,
Well,
man.
I wanted to ask you something because I'm a single mom, and I've been a single mom for a long time. I have one child, right? Like, at what point did the mom guilt kind of slow down for you, if you had it?
Oh, I still have mom guilt to this day. Whenever I do anything for myself, like, so I do like to vacation a lot. And sometimes on those vacation, I don't take her. So my anxiety kicks in sometimes, and I'm like, am I doing the right thing by not taking my daughter? But at the same time, I'm like, it's okay. You are an individual person. You're a human, besides being a mom, which yes, a mom is your priority. That's like the main thing. But at the same time, you have your individuality that you have to also protect. You're a human besides being a mom, and you have to take care of yourself to take care of your child. So the mom guilt, I think, is something that's always going to be there when you are a good mom. Well, let's rewind that back. I don't think there's a such good thing as a good mom, good dad, whatever, because I think, like Diana had mentioned before, that the kids don't become with a manual. Parent doesn't come from a manual, and I think that um everybody's experiences shapes them to be who they are, and the sad reality is that some people know only what they know, so they think it's the
Mm.
correct thing. But
That
going back
is
to the mom
true.
guilt, I think it never goes away. At
Yeah.
least not for me. At least not for me. She's
Yeah.
about to be 9 years old, and I don't think I think to this day I still feel mom guilt. And when you say mom guilt, were you asking specifically because of this like separation from dad, or were you just saying in general?
No, in general, I mean, of course, I think that there's always mom guilt present, or at least for me, there's always mom guilt present when you separate, because that's obviously not ideal, right? Or, you know, whatever. So I don't know. Some people have preferences, some people don't care. But for me, who grew up without a father, I understand what that is like. And that's was something that I thought that I was not gonna do to my daughter, or be, you know, part of the reason why my daughter would grow up without a father present in her life. So I think that that mom guilt plays a huge role. But no, when I asked, I was asking in general, because, you know, I think that in particular to single moms, we're extremely hard on ourselves for the most part. There's a whole lot of questioning of, I'm not enough, or am I enough? Which you're not, by the way, and not in a horrible way, but you could never replace a father figure for that child, right?
Right.
You could never replace a grandparent for that child. You could never replace, you know what I mean? Like all the experiences that make you you, or make your little human, that human that's going to grow up and be productive in society. I think that you are never going to be that child's world, no matter how much you try, right? Because they have to experience the world with different, you know, with a diverse experience pool of different people, right? Different perspectives. So I think that that's also has been like a challenge as well, right? Like, how do you balance that, right? So like for you, what was the most challenging thing or lesson that you had to like convey to your child?
Wow, that's a good question. I don't know. I think because, you know, as they grow, they ask questions.
Yes.
So I think it was explaining to her, like, why me and her dad weren't together, and why she would see other kids with their parents.
Oh yeah.
And so I had to explain to her, you know, mommy and daddy just didn't get along once upon a time, because I think she was also really small when we separated. So she doesn't really remember, like she remembers us together, but she doesn't remember us together as a couple, because we do a lot of things with her together. So she asks, you know, she asks us questions like why we don't all live together. This was maybe when she was about 4 or 5 years old, and I said, mommy and daddy didn't get along, so we had to separate. And so I explained to her, sometimes when people don't get along, the best thing to do is to separate, as opposed to staying together, which, you know, has been something that has been normalized, that people stay together even when they're not happy. And that wasn't what I wanted for my child to see, because yes, a broken home with two, you know, parents living together might be a broken home, but a broken home can also be two parents together fighting all the time and attacking each other all the time. And that's not positive. That's not anything positive for anyone. So what am I teaching my daughter? That's love, that her parents are arguing all the time? That's not love.
And it sucks. It sucks. Breaking up is not an easy thing. It's funny, I didn't know that was around the age that Scarlett was, because that's exactly the age that Roger was. And I remember when it first kind of like started to dawn on him, he asked a question and it really upset him, because he thought that like if and when somebody came into my life that he would be replaced. And I was like, that doesn't work like that. You'll never be replaced by anyone. But it also isn't that. It's just that we're always going to be family, Daddy, and we do a lot of things together too. We have a different relationship now. Now that the emotions are done and the, you know, the sadness and all that, now we can cohabitate and be together, go out to the zoo, go to dinners and things like that. And it's easy and fun, but just him knowing that we're family, but the love changes. It's a friendship now versus it's not a romantic relationship. And so that's hard sometimes for them to understand, but I 1000% back you up on that statement that it's better to do that than to teach them that this is what love looks like. Because to me, I feel like that's even worse, because, you know, I don't hold anything against my mom. This is me making a marketing pitch. If you haven't read our book, I'm a Wild Lily. It's in the Wild Lily. But, you know, I don't hold anything against my mom because everyone does things. And once again, we don't come with manuals. And even relationship, it's very difficult. You have to like kind of navigate them and have conversations. But my mother stayed in a relationship for over 18 years. And she said that the reason she did not leave was, I didn't want to give you guys that example. But yet she was hurt for like 12 of those years. right? So how happy were you? And so you taught me that you just stick it out. And you stick it out with people that don't love you, don't respect you, don't have your boundaries and your standards in place, and don't acknowledge them and value you to a certain extent. And so a lot of the times we make that mistake as females, where we are holding such a high regard for the partner we're with, and we want to make sure that we're showcasing this person in such a high way just so that they don't look at it negatively or you negatively, because that mom guilt comes in of like, oh, they're gonna think it was me, I broke it up, like I messed up the family dynamic. It's not like that. It's so much more than that. But I think that it's like anything else. It's like even like working out, like it at first is hard, at first it's very difficult, but once it starts becoming a pattern and you like kind of have it stabilized, it makes sense to them. And then they appreciate it down the line, that you didn't let them stay in this unit that was unhealthy, unproductive, didn't teach you about the values of love, versus let me show you what it actually looks like. So I love that.
Absolutely. And I think that being a single mom, right, and like going through those kind of trials and tribulations of like divorce or separations, and things like that, it's very difficult to then maintain your head leveled or above the water and still say, well, you know, my chin is above the water, but I need to rise a little bit more. I need to rise a little bit more, right? Like to keep that push or that motivation going when everything around you is kind of weighing you down or telling you to go the other way, right? Because I can tell you that so many times I told myself, forget it, just go back. Just go back, because it's easier to be in the relationship at this point than it is to be separating and divorcing and going through all of this, you know, or going through the nights of my daughter crying, where's my daddy? Where's my, you know what I mean? Like all of that plays a toll, right? Because it kind of like, to me, the way that I want to describe it is like it almost like sticks its claws in you. And like no matter how many claws you like poke out, right, out of you, like 10 more come back in, if that makes any sense, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like you keep trying to like escape it, but you can't. So you essentially you just kind of end up learning how to live with that pain until it subsides and you no longer feel it anymore. And you kind of like rise above it, right? But it's super difficult to achieve certain goals and kind of like maintain that same maturity to deal with those type of problems as well, right? Or those circumstances as well. Because I don't always like calling them problems. I think they're more situations than problems.
Yeah. Lessons.
So my question to you is like, what would you say to a single mom that's possibly going through that kind of same experience, but wants to achieve personal goals? Like, what would you say to that woman?
I will say take some time for yourself and try to find yourself. Try to find who you are, because I think also being in these relationships, sometimes we can lose ourselves. And we need to find ourselves again. I feel like throughout our lives, we're always evolving. We're always evolving. So finding yourself without that person and finding out what you like, what you don't like, feeling the pain, like you said. I think feeling the pain, like you said, I think you need to feel the pain so that
Yes.
you can get over, you can get, over it. You could get through it. And it's I think it's normal to feel the pain, and you're gonna feel pain. There's no other way. I don't think anyone should try to take the pain away with unhealthy things, because that's what a lot of us try to do. We want a quick fix. We want a quick fix. We want a quick fix. So we go, oh, let's go dancing. Oh, let's go drink. Oh, let's go do this. That's because we want a quick fix. But at the end of the day, when all of that is done, you're back home with the same feelings again. So instead of just hiding from that pain, feeling the pain, facing the pain, and going through it, and then doing things that you like, that are healthy. If it's exercise, if it's writing, if it's riding a bike, if it's I don't know, walking, if it's those things, just finding yourself again and doing those traveling.
Yes, traveling. Oh my
traveling. Or doing that thing that you've been putting to the side, because a lot of times we put things to the side, like, oh no, I'm gonna do that later. I'm gonna do that later. I'm gonna do that thing that you keep putting to the side, and just find yourself, find what you like, be with yourself, date yourself, and learn yourself, so that when
say
love
it for
comes
the people,
knocking at
say
your
it
door,
again.
you're ready.
Say it again for the people in the back. Say it again.
I think that's my way of coping with it and not jumping into anything, because also people jump, you know, not that I'm saying everyone does this, but a lot of people like to jump from into a relationship to another relationship. That also doesn't fix anything. It's just another quick fix.
Yep.
No, it's not. And it becomes almost damaging to do that. So like I was single for 7 years. And I just recently got into a serious relationship like 3 months ago. So
nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I took a long road of discovery, because unlike what you just expressed, that you were like, oh, date yourself, take time for yourself. See, I didn't. I did a whole lot of toxic, right? Like immediately after. And
we all go through that. We all go through that.
Like a lot, but like a lot.
It's okay. I think we all go through it. We want a quick fix. I'm telling you, we all go through it.
It's that instant gratification.
Yes, entonces like a lot of it was just like a lot of like the self-numbing. No, I got this, you know, it is what it is. This was a long time coming, you know, the self-toxic advice that you give yourself, because a lot of people like to be like, oh, because so-and-so told me this and that. No, honey, you're probably your worst advisor, and that's just a fact. Because I advised me horribly for the first year of my divorce. And so but you know, I want to say that it was like year 3 when I finally came into me and finding me again, and understanding that dating me was more important than anything else, that finding my soft skills again, my talents to get into again, was more important than anything else that I had going on, that building a healthy relationship with my daughter was way more important than anything else, which had always been my priority. So I think that it took me a little bit longer to realize that, but I did so much self-work. I read a lot. I, you know, took on mental health therapy, like so many different avenues, including starting to purge my friends list, if you will, of people who I just had come to understand that just no longer were suitable or healthy for me. Kind of like how you get rid of fried chicken, right? When you're on a diet, I had to do the same thing, because I was like, mija, you're giving me cholesterol, diabetes,
in moderation,
and everything else.
In moderation.
Yeah, like I just couldn't do it. So, you know, some people had to absolutely fall off that train, because they were just no longer productive or healthy in my life or my daughter's life. So I think that doing all that work, like I finally was able to say, when I find that person, I'm gonna know it. But I'm going to know it because I'm going to be a better me, right? Not because I'm looking for a better person, right? Because I don't think that's it. I think that had my ex-husband and I met at a different age, at a different circumstance, in a healthier mindset and environment, we would have been a different relationship. Right. But that just wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't so much about let me find somebody better. It was let me make myself better, so that when I do find that right person, I'm finding the right person, and I'm not just trying to settle or trying to put a Band-Aid on something that is going to eventually erupt. And so I think that was like kind of like my path to recovery, if you will. And it took a long time. Yes.
And I think it's a never ending thing, though. I think it's a never ending thing, because today you're like this, you're the best version of yourself, but in a few years, you're going to be a whole complete different version of yourself. And it's still going to be the best version for yourself just at that moment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what I just learned also about like getting into this new relationship is that if it's healthy, all that nervousness and weirdness that you feel with an unhealthy relationship doesn't exist. At all.
Okay.
Like that inquisitive, like, oh, does he like me? Is he really into me? Why is he not calling? None of that exists at all. With the right person.
Where did you find that
at? You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Where do I gotta go?
But I literally found him on Facebook dating. And we matched as friends. It wasn't even as a relationship. It was as friends.
Wow, look at that. Well, you know what they say, you have to be friends first before becoming.
And that's what he said.
Right.
That's exactly what he said. He was like, well, I'd like to find a friend first, because he had been single for a long time too, right? Okay. So But I learned that whole questioning, oh, is this person really into me? Is that none of that exists when you find the right person?
That's
Like it just
beautiful.
doesn't.
That's beautiful.
It just
I wish that
doesn't.
on
And
everybody. That's
yeah.
peaceful. That's
Amen, for
so
real.
peaceful. You go to sleep in your bed knowing that you're
Oh
good, that you're
yeah,
okay.
nothing.
Everything's
Like
okay.
no questions. And I remember I dated a guy a few years ago, and I think that at least every hour on the hour, I was like in that headspace of like, man, like I don't know, but like that was weird that he did last week, and he hasn't called me in a few days, and this and like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, does he
Yeah.
want to be serious? Does he not? And then there were those weird, awkward conversations that men do with you, like, oh, well, I'm just not ready for something serious right now, but I do want you. I do want to be with you. I do see a future with you. Like those mixed signals, right? Like that
Yeah.
doesn't exist. I think my boyfriend, by the third date, was like, you're going to be my wife in the future. Like they just know.
Wow.
They just know. It's crazy, but I'm like, no. So that proves to me that you being in a healthy setting and in a healthy headspace, and your heart isn't heavy anymore, and all of that trauma has kind of subsided and is more of a memory than it is a trauma. Just kind of like flattens out or evens out, if you will, and just kind of allows you to like leap forward and just look at things different. And I think that applies for all types of relationships, for friendships, for romantic relationships, because now I've been able to make friendships that I would have never made 5 years ago, right? That I'm able to develop, right? So like, what was your experience coming back to you, like as a woman, and saying, well, I'm important too? What was your experience coming back into that like field of like, let me make friends, or let me do outings, or let me go traveling, right? Because it's your thing. Like what was that experience like?
As for making friends, I'm very picky. So I'm
That is
very picky
true.
when it comes to
That is
making
true.
friends. I and I also think it's because I've had some close friends from when I was younger. Maybe like one or two. I could count all my friends in one hand. But it's funny that you say that, because this last year, I made a new friend. I made new friends. And it was because I think I was ready to, because I'm the type of person who gets attached, right? Like I get attached to friends. And I'm always scared that something bad might happen, and then that's it. The friendship is gone. And you feel a little hurt. But I said to myself, I can't go into friendships thinking that that's always gonna happen in
Mhm.
friendships. And I had to remind myself that everyone is there for a moment, whether it's for a moment, whether it's for years, but that doesn't mean that people can be blessings. That's the reason why we have people,
Yes.
Yes.
coming in and out of our lives. So I'm glad that I was able to start getting close to these friends, because I feel like the conversations are so enriching. Um, we empower one another, and I think I have friends like that already, but I feel like making new friends and seeing new perspectives also is a good thing, because you hang out when you hang out around the same people all the time. Yes, everyone is growing and things are changing, but it's also good to, get that new outlook in life from other people as well.
Absolutely. That new perspective.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that because I feel like there's, like you said, there's a season and a reason for everything in life, for everyone that comes in. And even like when I was going through the breakup and things like that, we all have these like stupid stories, God, like the things that I've done. And it's like I can go back, I can trace it all the way back to the beginning of my dating, and like where I went wrong, and taking accountability for the things that I did because of the situations that I was. And kind of like what you said before, like if you're walking into things where you're not healed, it messes everything up. Because and it's like, yeah, you did what you did, but also if I would have had my mindset a little stronger, if I would have more self-love and more self-worthiness, I wouldn't have allowed that, both in a romantic relationship or in a friendship. So that is extremely important. But I also know that for sure, some people, the worst people, bring the best experiences in life. And then the best people bring you the best memories in life, right? And so those are like the best things in your life. So I can date back things that I've learned from you, from your mom, from your brother. Like those are experiences and joys that I will never forget. And so they marked who I was and who I continue to be. And it also is like that like moment where it's like you could take back and say, wow, it didn't work out or something didn't go as planned. But from that part of my life, I gained this, I gained that. Like it's so many things, right? And then there's people that are like, I remember dating some people that were atrocious and were like hell to my life. But yet, for whatever moment that was, that 1 month, the 2 months before it went south, it was beautiful. So I'm going to choose to celebrate those moments, learn from it, never go back to it. but, but enjoy the fact that I was able to live it because it molds me to be better. So that one day, knock on wood, we all have the experience that Jamie's having right now, where like, I told her I felt really like skeptical. I was like, girl, I don't want to be that friend because I love Jamie. I love me some Jamie. But I'm like, you sure? Are you sure this is, I don't know, girl, this is fast. Like, don't go so fast. Like, but when when you feel good about it, you do. And, because of the things that you've been through, both Jamie and you and me, like, I feel like it has made us stronger women, right? It becomes that like those battle wounds, those scars that now we cherish so much, like our stretch marks, like before having my baby, I was like, I never want to have a stretch mark in my life. Like it's and now it's
The
like
biggest lie ever.
this is a lot,
Shit. I love my stretch marks. They're battle wounds, baby.
And so it's an amazing feeling, and it makes you. That's why what I said in the beginning, to me, knowing you personally, Emily, it's like, I don't really use this very often. So you feel whichever way you want to feel, but I think I only use this for very seldom women in my life, Jamie being one of them, and maybe one other woman that I know in my life that I can think of as formidable. To me, when you've gone through the things that I feel like you have gone through, when it comes to your mom and your dad, and that's been an uphill battle. I suck at saying uphill battles. Dealing with the separation, going to school, getting good jobs. Like she's been a powerhouse and making moves happen. Doesn't mean that you need to be a millionaire. Like, that's the reason why we started this podcast. It wasn't about like women for wealth, meaning your money. It's like your wealth and mindset, your wealth in time, your wealth in being a better mother, and taking what you quote unquote went through, struggles, dilemmas, trauma, and you made it into something totally different. So that it's not your battle wounds where it's like, oh, I didn't do it because this, and this. No, I did it in spite of this. I did it because I had to. I showed up bigger and better because I had someone to show up for, myself first and foremost, and then my kid, because that's a gift. So for all women in your circle, I want to thank you because you have been someone from afar very inspirational. I'm always freaking inspired when I see those traveling. I want to be Emily's like buddy in the traveling. Like, where is this girl at now? Like, what the heck?
No, but that's amazing. That is amazing. And like, let me tell you something. To your comment of like, oh, the careful friend, right? So like, here's my take on that. I think that fear, that happiness, anger, that all the emotions that you can possibly feel will always exist. That's a thing. Because it's what makes us human, right? It's what kind of keeps you alive. It's what ruins you. It's healthy, right? Yeah. But what I no longer allow is neither one of those emotions to overpower me in any decision that I make. Right? Even if I'm overly excited about something, I'll go to a corner and calm myself down and then process it. No, literally, I have to center myself now. It's not like before where if I was happy about something, I would jump on it. Like, oh my God, look at that. The ocean looks blue. Ying, and then there I was, or even, if I was angry, immediately a decision will come out of that angry moment and then regret would set in later. Impulsiveness, right? And the same thing with fear, right? If I acted on fear, then I would stop myself from doing something because I was fearful. And to me, just like having a powerful manifestation mindset is important, also stepping in your truth and not half stepping is important. And when you allow emotions to kind of take over and you make decisions based on those emotions, no matter which emotion it is, you're going to half step everything that you do. You just will. You're not going to be full you because you're not centered, right? It's only going to be like a fragment of you that's going to make that decision and then bounce around while the rest of you is over here. Yeah. So you never find you and your center and your happiness. And a lot of the times we think that we're taking the wrong path. And it's not that we're taking the wrong path, it's that the path that we took it in the wrong step, right? Like we half stepped it, right? We didn't go full blown or we didn't fully commit. And I think I'm at a stage in my life that no matter what I do, I don't want to half step anything, because I don't want to say later on, I didn't succeed because of myself. I would rather say I just didn't succeed because, you know, it just wasn't my time, or because something out of my control occurred. But I don't want to say anymore it was because I chose not to do this, or I made a mistake along the way, or I acted out of fear, or I acted out of like overly excited, you know, too excited and jumped in too quick. Like I no longer want that to be the reason for why I don't succeed, right?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Because
Yeah, I
it's
love
hard.
that too.
And that's hard though. Let me tell you, because I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very emotional person, but that's something that I've learned to, I'm not gonna say I've mastered it yet. Because you know, we sin and we make mistakes sometimes, but regressing, you know, you can regress from some of the things that you do, but that's one of the lessons that it's reoccurring, and it's always remembering and kind of stopping and pumping the brakes and making sure that the next step that you make is illogical with intention. So like this year, my word for this year is like discipline and consistency. Well, that's kind of two words, but that's the focus point for this year, like having that consistent and disciplined action when it comes to everything that I do with a lot of intention. And I know that for Emily, I know that I've seen you do a lot of different things with the new job, and now taking on working out. Like I see you, what you doing with the workout? She's trying to get all cute over there. I see you. How's that going for you? Like, how do you feel like that marries with everything that you've done so far in life? Like being so, you know, showing up no matter what, making sure that you're committed to it. Do you think that that affects every other part of your life? I'm a big believer in how you do one is how you do one thing is how you do everything. Do you think that applies to what you're doing now?
Yes. I think that I know that that once I put myself to do something, I'm gonna do it. It's just starting. It's just starting. That's how it is for me. It's
Right.
just starting and getting to it. I think that I always know more or less like who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, but it was just getting that starting point. I think once I get that starting point, I'm pretty good at being consistent. But I also think that having a child, I think it kind of matured me more too, as well. Like made me say, okay, when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, and that's that. For example, with my job, I've come a long way. I've come a long way. I started off, I'm pretty sure you remember, first it was counsel. I was a counselor, a camp counselor for SY. I think that's how I started, SYEP, camp counselor. From there, I went to working at a gas station. I was in and out of school for my for undergrad, in and out of school. So I didn't like finish when I was supposed to. And then from the gas station, I ended up getting pregnant. And then after getting pregnant, I stopped working at the gas station. And I was also tutoring at the same time, being at the gas station. So I had my own little business, as you can say.
Yeah.
I was tutoring, and then I think it's just the blessings and being grateful for what you have at the moment too. I remember, you know, because I was always working. I was always working. So I remember when I had Scarlett, I was like, damn, so now I'm just gonna be nothing wrong with this, but this is not who I am, is I'm just gonna stay home with my child and do nothing. Which I know you're doing a bunch of different things when you are staying home, but I'm so used to working, like doing you know, something besides staying home. I'm not that person to stay home. That's not who I am. So I had some great parents, and they allowed me to bring Scarlett with me while I tutored their children. Some of them even stood with Scarlett, you know, like watching her while I tutored their kids. And those are things that I always look back at, and I'm like, that was a blessing. That was a blessing because
Mm.
that continued taking me to the path that I wanted, to go. After that, I was a lead teacher. I worked at daycares, I worked at centers, and then finally I finished my undergrad because I'm like, okay, no, ya no se puede jugar, uno se tiene que poner la pila. Like, I have to really get a good job because now everything is asking for, oh, you have to have this type of education, or you have to have this type of education. So I'm like, okay, let me go get my undergrad. So I finished my undergrad, and then during COVID, I was like, let me go into my master's and do social work. And I'm still not where I want to be, but this is the beginning of that for me.
I love that.
So I think that my path, and just putting my mind, and just having faith, knowing that there's something in you when you feel that that you're gonna get where you want to be, even if it seems so far, but you feel that spark inside of you. Like, that you're on the right path. Something in you tells you, because it's like you get like this. I don't know if you guys ever felt it, but it's like a feeling, a little feeling inside of you, like, oh.
You
should hear me and Diana's conversation sometimes. Like,
we have it often. When you run a business and you're starting off from the bottom, all these little excitement. We literally had a new I don't know, I guess good news, a threshold broken, and something that we really weren't expecting. So it was from the left, and so we were having a whole giddiness earlier before this. So we get it.
That's awesome. And in the future, that's where I want to end, having my own business. I want to open my own practice for mental health. I want to do that.
There you go.
So that's definitely my end goal.
And invite us to the celebration when you do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone's invited.
So we can have you, so we could brag about you being a W4W podcast alumni.
She said it first here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I love it.
This has been so good. Like, I feel like I could ask you so many more things, but I do selfishly. I always ask a question that's selfish because I need to be selfish, right? Putting yourself first. Tell us, please, girl. How are you traveling so much? Like, what are you doing? What part of club are you in? Like, what is going on?
I'm not a part of any club. I just think, so as you know, I live in an apartment. I don't have a house and I don't have a car. So think about that as being my traveling money. That's how I tell everybody.
Got you. Okay. So you
think about it like that.
Right.
Yeah. Think about it like that. I don't own a car. I don't have a house, and I'm okay with that because traveling fulfills me.
No, it is very fulfilling. It's a beautiful experience. I really want to start to take that on again. I guess with the baby, the divorce and all that, it kind of slowed me down, but I've always loved to travel. Actually, the year before I had my son, I went on 7 vacations in 1 year, and I was like, yes. Like the epitome of like, now a lot of them, half of them were on an airplane and the other half were like local, driving, road trips, but it was just amazing. Yeah, it's still a trip. So it was amazing. It was fun. Now, things slow down, but he also has, he has a DNA in his blood, so he wants to travel. He wants to go to Hong Kong. He wants to go to China. So he's asking for the big trips. He's asking for the big
he is asking for the pictures. That's good. I wish Scarlett would. Scarlett just wants to know about the beach and the pool. That's all she wants to know about. So every time I travel with her, I have to make sure I go somewhere where there's beach and pool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Helena loves to travel too.
Yeah, and I like to sightsee. She's not gonna enjoy that, so that's why I have not taken her on a big trip yet. So when she gets to that age where she's gonna enjoy and embrace those things, we out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. We might have to do a single ladies trip with the Oh damn! I just remember this girl. No, you met that. Whatever now. Whatever.
It don't have to be a single girl. She can still come. It could be an all girls trip.
Right? Damn, bro. How the hell did I get excluded from the club?
Right. You know what it is that this is so new to me. So I'm like, oh shoot, I forget. I keep on saying she's not single no more. She's
like,
booed up
you're
now.
not with me anymore.
She's booed up now.
Intense. Let it go. Let it go.
Whatever.
Oh, wow.
Right, so
last but not least,
whatever. Last but not least, we have here in our culture of Women for Wealth, the last four. It's a fire four. It's the epic question, so you don't have a lot of time. We have like 30 seconds on the clock for each question. So just the first thing that comes off your mind, who is your hero and why?
My mama. That's my hero. Because I feel like everything that I've done is she was my inspiration. So everything I have done is because she inspired me to do so.
I mean, there's a people that and not because you're on, because I tell her this all the time. But there's people in my life that I call my hero, or a person that I call my hero. But your mom could definitely come close second, because the things I feel like, and I'll tell Jamie on offline, like some of the stuff that, because she just went through a lot. And her village, you guys had a really dope village that helped a lot. So it was beautiful.
And I think that's well, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
No, what I was gonna say is having a support system is so important, because I think what was said before was that sometimes some people, I think you mentioned it, Diana, about the traumas that people say, oh, the trauma, and this is why I never did anything, or blah blah blah. But I think it's also because they didn't have that strong support system. Anybody, positive, or someone that they would like to follow in their lives. And I feel like that's why they use that excuse sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That could be very true. All right. What if you're a trailblazing woman, but if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Stop time.
What?
To stop time.
Oh, okay. Yes, time is money, man. Time is money. And one thing that I learned a while back, there was a very wise woman that said there's machines making money, but there's no machines making time.
Yeah.
So stopping time, that would be a powerful one.
I don't feel like there's enough time in the day. We need some more time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right. If everyone had to follow a law that Emily Gonzalez put together and there was no ifs, ands, or buts, what would it be?
To learn to empathize.
Ooh, that's fine. I love that. Yes. There should be empathy in this world. Doesn't mean that you
I think the world will be a better place. The world would be a better place if people knew how to empathize. And the thing is that people don't know how to differentiate empathy with sympathy. People could sympathize for you and be like, oh, okay, I feel bad for you, but they don't really know. They don't try to, get into your shoes to understand what you're really going through. Right. And I think if we had more of that, the world would be a better place.
Right. And I think that to add to that, I don't think that it's a matter of like scapegoating from it either. Like you can empathize with me and still push me and still like motivate me. Not empathize when we're like sitting like in a piss party where it's like, oh, poor miserable me. It's just, can you just sit for a minute and let me vent and let me talk to you? Let me feel my pain and then tell me, here's the solution. Because that would make you a good friend, a good relationship where you add value to me and I add value to you. So for sure, that is hands down one of mine. And what is your smile maker besides Scarlett? What's your
man, that's not fair. That was my answer.
I know, that's mine too. That's mine too. But
it's waking up every day, opening my eyes.
That's opening my eyes every gratitude day. Right there.
That is a lot of gratitude. That's difficult to do.
Exotic on me. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Emily. Thank you so much on behalf of Women for Wealth. Jamie and me want to thank you for your time, your candidness, just being so vulnerable and sharing. I know sometimes this could be a little nerve-wracking because you don't know what's coming, and we purposely do that because we want to just have like if we were just sitting together on the couch together and we were just having a conversation and we're sharing our hearts, because a lot of the times that's what we're missing. Back to the empathy. We're missing that, let me not gatekeep. Let me tell you what I did. Let me show you that if I can, you can too. And so this podcast wants to showcase more of that, showing that just because you are where you are now doesn't mean you can be somewhere else in the near future.
Absolutely. You just got to have that faith, and you also have to work for it. You can't just let it think that it's going to come. You have to go for it. You have to go for it and be, have faith and take the leap. Some people are just afraid to take that leap.
That is true. Bueno, mi gente, llegamos al final. We have reached the end Thank you, Emily, for being with us, for sharing your life
Anytime.
experiences. Thank you for
Anytime.
being
Thank you for
a
having me.
wonderful role model in many areas. And absolutely representative of Women for Wealth. Because I think that it takes a lot of courage and a lot of motivation, a lot of self-starting to reach heights like you have, and to be the mother that you are, and to be the person that you are. So thank you.
Anytime.
And
Thank you
as
for having me,
always,
ladies.
say that again.
I said thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And as always, we like to leave our listeners with a message, and let you guys know that we are doing a book tour. Emily, you are invited. And our
I'll
book
be
tour
there.
and book tour,
As long
it
as I'm in
starts
the
March
States.
22nd. It starts March 22nd, and our first pit stop is Bronx, New York, at Zona de Cuba. Visit
Yay.
our website.
Yes.
Boogie down.
That's right.
But visit our website, visit our IG, visit our Facebook, hit us up and ask us for details. We have an RSVP page that you can click on our link tree on our IG bio. So go ahead and visit Women for Wealth. The 4 is spelled out on IG. So don't forget to look us up and find us in a city near you. We are going to hit Bronx, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Wow, nice.
Starting March 22nd. So let us know. And anyways, like I said, as always, we're going to leave our audience with a message. And tonight's message is, do not allow fear to stop you. Do not allow your past experiences to then terminate what your future should be.